Before the dark times, Star Wars was the ultimate blockbuster movie, a hero's epic space opera with laser swords and people getting cut in half and spaceship dogfights and Dexter Jetster. But now it's a woke lady with purple hair telling the audience men are dumb.
And the last thing we need right now. So stick to your post and follow my orders.
How did we go from this?
No, I am your father.
To
When I
this.
served under Leia, she would say, hope is like the sun. If you only believe in it when you can see it.
I'm sorry, what? That's the dumbest line I've ever heard in a Star Wars movie. How the hell did this happen? Well, I'll give you my input for what it's worth, but remember, I'm just the janitor. I get all my information from the trash cans around Disney and the shitting bowls at Lucasfilms. And let me tell you, Kathleen Kennedy's shitting bowl has seen a lot of shit. I have to clean it hourly, if that gives you any idea what she's doing over there. But I'm going to try my best to keep Kathleen's bullshit off this list. I'm not going to focus on the business decisions of Lucasfilms. I'm going to focus on the scripts they've produced. So let's start mopping up this mess. Oh God, this is terrible. This is worse than the Game of Thrones mess I had to clean up 6 months ago. Number 8, fuck Chuba. Hey, wait a minute. I thought this was supposed to be a top 7 list. Oh yeah, that's the guy who's wrote It's fault. Well, what the fuck, guys? This is simple shit. You're the producer. You didn't have him proofread this before you gave it to me? He did proofread it, but that's the catch. He can read, he can't count. We can fix the title in post. Well, you better fix it in post. You're going to make me look like an idiot. Who the hell wrote this? I did. Well, learn to do your fucking job. Number 8, fuck Chewbacca. When we first meet Han Solo, he comes off like a jerk, but then the audience is like, all right, but he's a jerk with a dog, so maybe he's not such a bad guy after all. You see, Chewie trusts Han. They have a language only they can understand.
Well, you said it, Chewie.
Where did you dig up that old fossil?
Then if you care enough to learn about their backstory, you find out Han actually rescued Chewie. Everyone loves a rescue story. My girlfriend's dog is a rescue, and we love her. Wow, what an adorable animal. My point is, this is supposed to be one of the most rock-solid friendships in the franchise. So what does Disney do to Chewie after Han is murdered? Leia straight up ghosts him. She's avoiding him more than one of Chris Brown's exes. But I think the part I hate the most is that Chewie and Han never got a proper goodbye. And I don't need anything long and drawn out.
You put away your gun. You did it. So I could change.
Holy shit, just let this kid fucking die already, because kids are ruining YouTube or some shit. I would have just liked to have one line that wasn't a plot dump. They could have just had Chewie growl at Han, and then Han could have said, first round's on you, or something like that. So the audience could see Han and Chewie have one of their private exchanges one last time. But no, instead he's just a chauffeur in this series. Number 7, Leia's a pushover and does nothing. Have you guys ever seen Full Metal Alchemist? If you haven't, you should, because it's one of the most beautifully written shows of the century. There's a character in the series called Olivia Mira Armstrong, and she's the definition of a woman you don't want to disappoint.
What should help?
Leave him! That's my brother! He's trained better than to be killed like this!
She's an experienced fighter, has a commanding presence. She gets shit done herself and is the true definition of a leader. Now think about Leia in the originals. She's witty.
From just one person, me.
So wonder he's still alive.
She's smart.
Easy, you call that easy?
They're tracking us.
She's a leader. She's a badass. And now with the sequel trilogy, Leia's been fighting the Empire for like 70 fucking years. You would think being at war for her entire life she would become a seasoned veteran, a badass bitch that has no time for mistakes, no taste for mercy, and has a keen eye for intergalactic warfare that has kept her commanding the front lines and on top of her game for decades. But the minute she meets a stormtrooper who switched sides only a day ago, she says this.
And I need to talk to him. That was incredibly brave what you did.
Leia, lock this dude up or something. He could be a spy. He could be leading the First Order to you right now. She has zero awareness of potential threats, and instead just seems like a nice old lady to go to war with.
You're demoted.
Damn, this is like going to war with your grandma. Could this get any more boring? Is anyone taking this seriously?
That is our mission.
Oh, I guess not. It's like Disney stripped away everything that made her interesting as a character, completely missed the mark on where her state of mind would be after fighting all these years, and just decided that having her Mary Poppins her way through space would blow our minds. Oh look, she used the Force. Using the Force is very cool. Please feed me more crap, Disney. Number 6, the opening of episode 8 was like bleach in my eyes and diarrhea in my ears. I have my problems with episode 7, but I'll admit they ended it in a way that left me hyped for episode 8. And I wasn't the only one, because tickets were selling out like crazy for Last Jedi. Everyone wanted to see what the fuck was going to happen. It was the perfect cliffhanger, but they don't start the movie off at any place that makes a cliffhanger feel necessary, which makes the whole existence of a cliffhanger more useless than when I asked my friend Brandon to help me move.
Get it?
They start off with Poe calling Hux hugs. And then the classic phone disconnected gag.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
It's like all the tension and buildup over the last 2 years is completely washed away. Then you're left questioning what the chain of command is.
Disengage now, Commander. That is an order.
Why doesn't the rest of the fleet know to disengage? Why are they all listening to Poe if Leia's in charge? I'll give credit where it's due. They do a decent job of building tension in this scene. I almost started to care a little bit, even though the physics of dropping bombs in space makes no sense, but whatever, it's Star Wars science. But when they blew up the Dreadnought and darted off into space, my only question was, alright, what the fuck is a Dreadnought? Oh right, they're fleet killers.
These things are fleet killers.
Right, I got it. It's just that, didn't they just destroy a whole planet? What's wrong with jumping a few years into the future for episode 8 like all Star Wars movies do? It makes it a lot more interesting to see where our heroes are now, how they've grown,
My goodness, you've grown.
what kind of relationships they have.
See us alone in the South Passage. She expressed her true feelings for me.
It makes it feel like the movies are progressing with you. But by waiting 2 years for this movie to come out and then going back to the events of Force Awakens, it feels like I'm going backwards instead of forwards. Like I'm relapsing on my prescription pill problem all over again. I wish I was on prescription pills right now because this is awful. Number 5, Darth Maul is in Solo for no reason other than to try to force a new interconnected universe down your throat. I don't think Darth Maul ruined Solo. In fact, Solo wasn't even that bad of a movie. It wasn't necessary, and I don't really believe that this is Han Solo, so it shouldn't have been made and had some terrible cringe. Wait, Lando was fucking that robot? What the fuck? But why did Disney have to shoehorn Darth Maul into this movie? Why the hell does he look like Peter Stormare now? They should have just used CGI and then CGI'd him out because he didn't belong in this movie because he's supposed to be dead. By putting him in this movie, you're basically saying that you also have to watch Star Wars: The Clone Wars cartoon series, episode 21, season 4 to understand that he's still alive. And what the hell is the point in bringing him back anyways? He's already dead in a separate cartoon series. So what the hell can you even do with this character? The answer is absolutely nothing, except try to make it look like you know what you're doing, when in reality you're just proving the opposite. Number 4, Luke throwing away one of the most iconic weapons of all time like he's a frat boy throwing away an empty beer can. Episode 7 wasn't the best Star Wars movie, but it definitely wasn't the worst.
Come on, let's go and play ball.
But most importantly, at the end of the movie, I was fucking hyped. Luke Skywalker is back, bitches. Been waiting my whole damn life for this. I can't believe it's happening. Oh. They subverted my expectations by turning a serious and pivotal Star Wars scene into a silly joke. They did a physical comedy scene with Luke Skywalker before he even said a single line in this trilogy. That's exactly what Luke was known for in the originals. Physical comedy.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
Alright, I'm sorry I have to do this, but according to my producer, we're contractually obligated. We got our first sponsor. Shirtsforaliens.com. I'm really sorry about this, guys. I told the guy who bought this ad that exactly 0 of our viewers are from outer space. He just said they will see it. But yeah, only alien t-shirts. Just one sale proves the existence of aliens. If you're from the 5th dimension of Xylar Galaxy 5, then you'll love Shirts for Aliens. Their shirts are out of this world. Number 3, Luke is a murderer. How much more needs to be said here? They took the greatest quality of Luke and threw it out the window. In the original trilogy, he becomes the savior of the galaxy through sheer determination and courage, and in the process redeems the sins of his own father. He was the only person, living or dead, that believed there was still good in Anakin Skywalker. And because he held on to that belief so strongly, he saved the galaxy. But in this movie, he tries to murder a kid in his sleep. It's the equivalent of Batman shooting Robin with a gun because he was afraid Robin might do a drug deal someday. It's completely unnecessary and no one wants to see that. I mean, even Mark Hamill was legitimately pissed.
I said to Ryan, number 1, Luke was the most optimistic, hopeful character, and now he's this miserable, despondent hermit. You see in the story why that is. But I had a real problem because I don't believe a Jedi would ever give up.
Looking back, was there any of the criticisms that you read that you may feel is now kind of fair?
No. But
I'm happy to ruin people's childhoods.
The thing is,
Look, he's literally nodding and pointing to the camera right now. It's like he did this specifically to be played in segments on YouTube when people want to point out how much Rian fucked up. Thanks for helping me out, Mark. You really made it easy to find an interview to prove my point. Seeing images like this assaults my soul because I can't ever imagine this guy
I'll not leave you here. I've got to save you.
turning into this guy.
Briefest moment of pure instinct. I thought I could stop it.
It's not a quality in the hero I looked up to. Yeah, you subverted my expectations, subverted them right into the dumpster because I had no idea Disney would put someone in charge that could fuck up this bad. Just imagine if there was a Lord of the Rings sequel trilogy and now Aragorn is a homeless alcoholic murderer and doesn't even care that Sauron is still alive and the ring wasn't actually destroyed. And then because he put so many woke messages into his movie, he can say anyone who doesn't like it is just a racist.
oh, well, someone's responding to diversity negatively. Fuck them, you know. But
You know what looks racist to me? Taking one of the most interesting and intriguing characters from episode 7.
This is a rescue. I'm helping you escape. Can you fly a TIE fighter? Far away from the First Order as we can. Go back to Jakku, we die. I'm not a hero. I'm a stormtrooper. On my first battle, I made a choice. I wasn't gonna kill for them. So I ran. Wait! Traitor!
That lightsaber, it belongs to me. Come get it.
And then just turning them into the funny black guy.
We need to get you dressed.
Yeah, those are the shuttle parkers. Hey.
JJ gave us something so new and fresh, and to be honest, deeply moving with Finn. Someone that is seizing every opportunity he can to run away, but when the chips are down, he runs face first into a fight he cannot win. I'm not gonna lie, this is one of my favorite lightsaber fights, just because of the pure brutality of it. This isn't some highly choreographed dance. It's two people on opposite sides of a war trying to murder each other. I'm pretty sure JJ was hinting that Finn is force sensitive in this movie. But Rian Johnson was just like, nah, let's make him do funny things with the robot instead. You don't come off like the cinematic mastermind you're pretending to be. In fact, you know so little about cinema, you're too dumb to understand how a kid's movie like Star Wars is supposed to function. It's supposed to be a hero's journey of someone rising from nothing, overcoming despair, and becoming the savior of the galaxy. I mean, just look at what The Last Jedi did to the Star Wars toy aisle. I went to Walmart the other day and they don't even keep Kylo Ren lightsabers in stock. They just had this one pathetic freestanding bin with discount original trilogy lightsabers. Rian Johnson didn't just kill Star Wars movies. He did the one thing that no one ever thought could be done. He killed the Star Wars merchandise industry. Number 2, Rose Tico and Woke Lady deliver the dumbest lines I've ever heard in a Star Wars movie. I've cleaned up a lot of shit, but after the theatrical release of Episode 8 was the most vomit I ever had to mop up in my life. And I think most of it came from this scene.
Not fighting what we hate. Saving what we love.
Or this scene.
Looks like this Trailbreaker fellow can do everything.
Oh, yes, he can.
Or this scene.
You taught me how. May the Force be.
Why are these two old ladies giggling on my screen while Luke hides in a cave? What the fuck kind of Star Wars idea is this?
May the Force be with you always.
Number 1, in Luke's last stand, he's sitting. I've had a lot to say about Disney Star Wars, and most of it being problems that stem from The Last Jedi. But you know what, guys? I could forgive all of it. I could let every single mistake go if they would have just done this scene right. And out of every version of Luke Skywalker after the events of the original trilogy, this is by far the worst and most boring one. Let's visit a few.
Oh, hang on. Spoiler alert!
Dark Empire. 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi, Luke comes face to face with a cloned version of the Emperor. Luke realizes he has been outmaneuvered because if he kills the Emperor, he will just reclone himself. Luke joins the dark side as Palpatine's apprentice so he can learn the dark ways of the Force in an attempt to get the upper hand on him in the long run. In the process, he allows the Emperor to Force lightning Leia and then grabs and strangles Han with one arm like he's fucking Bane. Eventually, Luke learns enough about the dark side to destroy Palpatine's clones and even defeats Palpatine, one of the most powerful Force users of all time, in a lightsaber battle. In a last-ditch effort, the Emperor then unleashes a cosmic-sized Force storm, destroying thousands of Rebel fighters. With Luke's new knowledge of the dark side and Leia's unlocked Force intensity, they combine their powers to turn the Force storm on the Emperor and defeat him together. Invasion Revelations. During the Yuzong Vong Wars, Luke Skywalker fights an entire army of Yuzong Vong warriors and giant bug monsters with only a handful of Jedi and 2 infantry units. The New Jedi Order, the unifying force. On page 420, it is said that Luke Skywalker swings his lightsaber so fast that it looks like he is wielding 10 or 20 lightsabers at once. His blades look like a blur of pure energy as he parries multiple Slayers. Slayers are elite Yuzong Vong warriors. They are Force-sensitive slaves grown from the tissue sample of Jedi, and just one is capable of taking on a Jedi Knight. Luke fights a handful of them at once, with 2 other Jedi warriors at his side. But the other Jedi warriors note that Luke was fighting so fast and so powerfully that they could not even perceive his movements. In fact, they could not even physically see Luke fighting. It is said that Luke's power in the Force is comparable to a star-gone supernova, and that other Force users he came into contact with were awestruck by his power and yet still impressed by his humility. Knowing all these things, I think it made a lot of fans still very excited to see Episode 8. We've been waiting since 1983 to see the power and wisdom and humility of an older Luke Skywalker. But this isn't humility, this is just cartoonish level behavior. What the fuck is he, Jay-Z or some shit? What the fuck, Rian? He does absolutely nothing here that makes me feel awestruck. His final act is failing to act for so long that the only thing he can do is project his image to stand up to a weak, spoiled brat and stop his tanks from murdering a handful of rebels that I don't even care about anymore. It's just a nerd tragedy that Rian was given the ultimate layup with thousands of pages of beautiful source material for how to handle Luke Skywalker after Return of the Jedi, and instead he decided to take a giant dump on it and make me clean it up and then ridicule me for not enjoying it. I just want to call out this trend I'm starting to see before The Rise of Skywalker is released. It seems like there's a corner of film Twitter that is somehow convinced The Last Jedi is a masterpiece. I see tweets about it every day, and I want to focus my attention on this one. Rian Johnson made Luke Skywalker fallible, which is why so many people couldn't handle The Last Jedi's depiction of him. It was the cinematic version of Never Meet Your Heroes, and it made me love Luke more than I ever thought possible. First, I have to look up what fallible means. I assume it means make him into a fucking loser. Let's see. It means capable of making mistakes. Alright, I don't think that's the first time Luke made mistakes, but whatever, it's this part I want to focus on. The cinematic version of Never Meet Your Heroes. And my response to this is, why the fuck would I want to sit through that? For a lot of us, reality fucks us hard enough that we don't need to experience it in a movie. I might catch some heat for saying this, but Luke Skywalker is the equivalent of nerd Jesus. It was because of his perfect arc in the original trilogies. In Return of the Jedi, Luke gives into his emotions when Vader threatens his sister, just like his father had done. They both are emotionally impulsive and self-destructive when it comes to protecting the people they love. But Luke takes a new path.
I'll never turn to the dark side.
He has passed the test that his father failed. The entire trilogy and prequel trilogy has been leading up to this moment. Luke has become a Jedi. He would rather die at the hands of the Emperor than compromise his principles. The Last Jedi manages to undermine 6 movies worth of character development for our main characters, Anakin and Luke. Rian attempts to redeem Luke, but he has done too much damage. Everything Luke learned in the original trilogy is meaningless in this new Disney trilogy. I don't know if Rian did that on purpose or if it was just incompetence. People who call this film a masterpiece do not understand Star Wars and do not respect the legacy of Luke Skywalker and what he built. And the person I feel the worst for now is Leia. She has lost everything. She has lost her husband, her son, her brother, her father, her mother, her home planet. She lost the Republic she fought so hard for. She had to go back to square one with building a resistance because no one else took the First Order seriously. And Poe got the majority of the resistance destroyed in the opening act. She can't even rally systems to her cause anymore. Her distress signal is ignored. She's gone from being a victorious leader and most committed to the cause to a backseat, one-dimensional doormat. At this moment, she should be at her absolute lowest. She's lost literally everything. Her entire family murdered, dead, or traitors, and her life's work burned to the ground, with the only remaining token of the past being annoying-ass 3PO. And yet she absolutely does not give a fuck. She's completely checked out from all of this tragedy. They try and claim she's just a strong female lead, but this kind of shit just comes off as robotic. She doesn't even flinch when Luke basically implies he's going to murder her only son. It doesn't seem like Rian wrote her as a strong lead. It seems like he forgot about her and then just slapped some women are strong messages into her story and everyone bought it and clapped because it was progressive. It's not progressive, it's fucking stupid. Well guys, I better wrap this one up. The Last Jedi gang should be showing up in the comments any minute now, so I'm gonna make like Rian Johnson and go on the attack by swapping accusations and calling their fandom toxic and then try to make myself look like a victim of internet bullying. See you next time, cleanup crew.
One by one, knock 'em down with you. Hold me up, hey, and I go down on you. Lift me up, then leave me here. I don't miss open shots. If I do, that's not a loss. Polo boxes, not Lacoste. You Jumanji life just like The Rock. Watch him flock, hear him talk. Don't watch my step tongue or the clock. She stay on my brain a lot, fresh like a new whip off the lot. Should I ride in the night with my dogs to the morning time? Call me on my phone, you tryna hop inside. Who am I? Maybe I'll never know. She always coming back when I'ma let her go. Should I ride in the night with my dogs till the morning time?